Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and a recent study has found that women who carry a little extra weight live longer than the men who mention it. Now then, today we're taking a look at a game just released on Steam this morning called Starwisp Hyperdrive, a supposed cozy atmospheric exploration game about making your home in space. Developed and published by Ghost Cat Games, released in early access and selling for $15. By the way, I know that my last video had some problems with the mic. I did a lot of messing with it today, and I hope it sounds better today. If not, I apologize, and I will get to the bottom of this. Anyway, so, what is this game? Well, basically your father, or was it uncle, I don't remember. The point is, a male older relative left you an old, clunky, rusty ship for some reason. Now it's yours, and a contact wants you to deliver a package, so off you go to start your space journey. As far as stories go and starters go for a cozy casual game like this, it's actually not that bad of an idea. So is this game worth our time and money? Well, let's find out. So as always, let's start off with the positives before going into the negatives, followed by my final thoughts, shall we? So up first for the positives is the price tag. In my opinion, it's very appropriate. I mean, this is an indie game, and it's an early access title, it has a unique idea, and without spoiling the rest of the video, basically, I feel like this game is worth its asking price. I always hate to make a point, or I always have to make a point of saying this, because there are too many games out there who are charging too much or too little, but this game is right on the money. Literally. The next positive point I have is the idea and the aspects of the gameplay. The gameplay will also be in the negatives as well, but for now, let's talk about the positives of it. For a game like this, it has a surprising amount of solid gameplay mechanics that make sense and work well, and as for the idea, well, I have yet to see a game do it quite like this. So it's kinda like reminiscent of Stardew Valley or Tavern Keeper, except instead of a tavern or a farm, it's a spaceship. No real combat, no real threats, just traveling around the galaxy, collecting random junk or treasure you find, delivering packages and completing quests, meeting interesting people, upgrading your ship, your robot, building them from scratch even, researching different things from mineral to biological, and it really just offers a lot of things to do here. So let me just kind of break it down. You can traverse the galaxy as long as you have a destination discovered. Along the way, you can find derelict ships, which you can explore and scavenge from. You have random asteroids that you can grab with your tractor beam and then process them for various resources, which you can then use to upgrade your ship, your robot, or even yourself. You could also just sell them. Your ship has a hyperdrive, which requires fuel, so you'll want to be careful how much of it you use. On the ship, you can eat, cook, sleep, shower, and that's pretty much it if you take out all the crafting and researching you can also do. Researching, okay, not a whole lot of, quote-unquote researching. It's just more identifying objects, really. But that's not all. Your ship also comes with a little personal carrier ship, a little, personalized shuttle that you can take outside of the main ship and explore the derelicts you come across. It also helps transfer you from your ship to another ship or to a space station or a planet or whatever. You have a robotic companion that you can talk to and you can bond with. I mean, he doesn't bond with you because he's a robot, but you can bond with him. And the game offers dialogue options. So, there's a lot of good here. The idea of a slice-of-life simulator, but in space, really intrigues me. The amount of detail located in almost every facet of the ship is also impressive and makes it feel more alive and realistic. So overall, the gameplay does have some good points and some good ideas, and I needed to, make that known. And last but not least for the positives is the stability. The game was very stable, at least for me during my playthrough. It never crashed, froze, broke, dropped frames, or anything like that, so it played nice and smooth, and it seems very well put together, for the most part. Alright, so that's all I got to say about the positives of the game. Up next is the negatives, but before we go into that, please consider helping out my small YouTube channel. How? Well, it's very easy for you guys and girls out there. All you got to do is like and subscribe. Commenting is really nice and allows us to talk about the game. And sharing my video and channel online, well, that's the most help you can give me. And any and all help you provide is greatly appreciated, so please consider helping my channel grow. Thank you. Now then, on to the negatives. And before we get into it, keep in mind that the game is still in early access, and I don't really want to do this. What I mean by that is, I love the idea of this game, and I wish it were slightly different, but the idea here is really interesting to me. And as for the early access thing, that obviously means that it's not done, it's going to have a lot more work done, and it's going to be finished and iron out some of the stuff. But despite that, I still need to make a point of pointing out what's currently wrong with it. By the way, if you hear a cat in the background, that's my wife's cat, and she decided to come bug me today. So the first negative I have is the look and feel of the game, and when I say that, what I mean is that the game doesn't exactly look bad, but it doesn't exactly look good either. To me, everything seems kind of plain and samey. There's not a whole lot to look at here, and what you can look at is kind of just meh, and it's overall just, even for these pixelated graphics, there's just something off about the whole design. It all feels awkward and weird. As for the feel, well, again, everything just feels like it's too slow, too awkward at times, and I'll go into that in a moment, but yeah, it just looked and felt off while I was playing. To go into more detail is the next negative, which is the user interface. To me, it's ugly and kind of confusing. It's awkward. Some buttons do what you don't expect them to do. Some buttons serve no purpose. Some things work in a way that's different from normal games, and it's hard to navigate or understand almost anything that you're working with. There's no key binding guide, and there's no way to check them or change them. C is the confirm button and the access button, and it's the button you're going to be using the most. But in most games, it would be E, F, or even the space bar, so that kind of threw me off. Escape only gets you out of some menus, but C gets you out of others, which is also weird. When you hit escape, it doesn't take you directly to the game options menu. It just takes you directly to this own little menu thing, which then you got to navigate, or you actually have to click a button that takes you back to the main options, which I might point out, there's no save button that you can hit. There's no manual save whatsoever. I hate games that don't give me a manual save, especially ones like this. Clicking allows you to navigate through some menus, but not all of them. The mouse wheel does not change your inventory or equipped items like in most games with the toolbar, and as far as I can tell, the mouse wheel doesn't do anything, even though it could be useful in some places. And some things are just completely unknown, and I left them alone because I had no idea what was going on. This is due in part to the awful tutorial, which we'll go into later. For now, the next negative, which is gameplay. Now, the gameplay did have a lot of good ideas going for it, but they're poorly implemented. I mentioned some of them already in the last negative. At first, it's kind of interesting, right? You've got food bar, stamina bar, cleanliness bar, and a happy bar, or a sane bar. I think. Anyway, you got to keep these up or suffer the consequences. But the specifics are not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the overall gameplay ideas and mechanics, because the specifics, when you get right down to it, they're actually not bad. It's just the overall ideas that are bad. Traversing through space is not cool or fun or interesting. Using your little exploratory ship is not cool or fun or interesting. Scavenging for resources is not fun or cool or interesting. Upgrading your ship and your robot and crafting things is only a little interesting, but not very fun or cool. Doing quests is not fun, interesting, or cool. So despite the game having an original cool idea for a game, how it's all being implemented here is actually kind of boring. You'll find yourself sitting around doing nothing for the longest amounts of time because you have no fuel and you have to move slowly at half speed through space to these large destinations. Researching something or refining something or crafting something also requires you to just sit there and do nothing. So you're going to find yourself bored very quickly. Then you spend 5 minutes on a new planet or space station with a very brief conversation, followed by going back to your ship and doing nothing for 20 to 30 minutes, waiting to traverse the distance. That's pretty much the gameplay, actually. Travel 30 minutes in this direction, talk to this guy for 5 minutes, deliver a package, get some money, get a new quest, do it all over again. That was pretty much my first 2 hours of gameplay with minimal scavenging and customizing and building or doing anything, really. I literally spent most of my 2 hours doing nothing. Now, I get the general premise here, but it could have been a lot more interesting. Why not let us have some kind of farming on the ship that you can do, or maybe more companions that aren't robotic? More stuff to explore out in space. I mean, I found and was able to explore one solitary derelict ship throughout my 2 hours, and it had nothing on it. The only thing to do here besides travel and deliver packages is this weird minigame of sucking up asteroids with your tractor beam, turning them into minerals and then into metals and then storing them for later because you don't know what to do with them. I'd love to have a game like this, but with a little more combat, with more personal interaction and customization. Like, you can't even play as a man, and not really. You can choose your pronoun of he, him, but there's no character model to match it. So if you want to play as a masculine male character, you can't do that. At least not right now. The customization of your character is very limited. There's no customization of your ship at all that I could see, anything inside of it. So it's not really personalized, since you can't change it to fit your personal image of what you want, which is going to hurt your immersion. Next up for the negatives is the tutorial, and I don't really have much to say because there wasn't much of a tutorial. Maybe 2 pop-ups telling me stuff and then silence. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what does what I'm supposed to do, or how to learn how anything works. And the 2 pop-ups that I did get were pathetically lacking in information or guidance. So after about 40 minutes of exploring and trying everything I could think of, I think I figured out how most things work. Maybe. But I have no idea, really, because the game didn't bother to teach me. And last but not least for the negatives is the sound design, the overall sound quality. Now, the sound effects themselves, when they actually bother to show up, do sound appropriate. No complaint there, except I wish there were more. But there's only music in the title screen, pure silence the rest of the game, and in some areas, there's just no sound at all, where there definitely should be. Plus, there's no voice acting either. So the sound here in this game is severely lacking, and if you know anything about video games, you would know how important sound is for immersion and fun. Alright, so that's all I got to say negatively about the game. What are my final thoughts? Well, it's a really interesting idea, and it does have a lot of depth to some of its gameplay, some of its ideas, some of its designs, and some of its overall plan. But it's lacking severely in a lot of other areas as well. Like, it's lacking the fun component. What is fun about this? It's lacking the immersive components. Maybe I could get behind the idea of its space. It's supposed to be lonely and boring. If I could at least immerse myself. But it doesn't have the components to do that, so I can't even do that. And it's lacking the retention component. You know, that urge to keep coming back and play it component. I have absolutely zero desire to continue playing. I have zero attachment, zero investment, zero immersion, and I just wasn't having that much fun. And it's a real shame because I really wanted this to be a better game. Because like I said, I do love the idea of this, and I feel like it could have been a lot better. So yeah, I'm disappointed. At the very least, the game has an appropriate price tag and a really good idea, so at least there's that, and it was stable. But yeah, as of this moment, I just can't recommend this game to anybody. It's kind of hollow, it's missing a lot, and it's just not very fun right now. If you were interested in this game, then I would encourage you to add it to your wish list and maybe wait half a year to see if it makes any significant changes. But yeah, as of right now, I just don't think it's worth my time and money. Alright everybody? Alright, so that's all the time I got for this video, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, with a special thanks to those who stuck around till the end. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you all farewell.